How many of you know ISTQB? Gagan, Monica, Midul, or Taki?
Yes, sir, I have heard about it. It's a certification organization.
Hmm. Okay, very good. So, Gagan, yes, you are right. This is a certification, and this is an international testing board which gives certification to the QA professionals or testing professionals, and their certification is known at global level, which is considered as a very, very good certification. And in testing, anything is goes around that is ISTQB certification, and here we will cover from the same perspective for you. So freshers also need to learn about testing from same around, right? So the first chapter in ISTQB that comes is the principles of software testing. Now let's understand what is the principle of software testing, which what principle means, what are the things that we require in software testing,
Okay.
right? In this chapter, we will cover about testing terminology, why testing is necessary, what is a testing, fundamental testing process, the psychology of testing, retesting and regression testing defect, what is the expected result, what how we prioritize the test case, right? So let's
Right.
Taki, just keep yourself on mute.
Sorry.
No problem. So the first thing which comes, that is a testing terminology, right? Now, if we have discussed in our previous class what is a testing, can you guys tell me what is a software test? What do you understand by testing? In normal layman term, what do you understand by testing? Any of you?
Testing the functionality of an application, whether it is working according to the customer's requirement or not, or checking it whether it has some fault or defects or not.
Yes, correct. Anyone else?
The verification and validation of the customer's requirement is called testing.
Yes, correct. What about you, Gagan and Monica? Okay, so the just one liner is that testing is a process to validate your application or your function according to customer requirement or according to user needs. That's it. Suppose, for example, if I say I am having a pen and the functionality of pen is to write on a paper. So what is the first thing I am going to test is that the, I am able to write from pen or not, right? So that is called as a test. So I am checking as per the functionality it is working fine or not working fine. That's a basic thing we are going to check. I hope you guys are attending this workshop with pen and paper. Now here what they have written, the testing terms are varied throughout the software testing industry and misunderstood often occurs as a result of problem related to the translations of term use. Which are those terms? Because in our day-to-day life, or if in testing, software testing, we use frequently, there is an error, there is a fault, there is a bug, there is a defect, there is a failure, but we do not understand the exact difference between all these terms, right? So here we will study about these things. What is error? An error is a human action that produces an incorrect result. What's the meaning of that? Suppose suppose you are going to make tea, right? And what happens that instead of putting sugar, you are putting salt in the tea. So what will happen? Definitely there will be uh, the tea will not or the tea will not make according to the taste, or might be it could bad taste as well, or user will not use it. So here you are penetrating or you are putting something which is making your system or your function wrong, right? So that is something which is manifest or that is pushed or injected by a human, that is known as your error. So human action that produces an incorrect result. For example, if I try to drive my car at 100 miles per hour, right, on a first gear, so what will happen? Definitely, either car will burst down or engine will be broken or something is happening can be there, right? So here I am trying to force my application to give some error, to or rather to work with a dysfunction. So that is known as your error. What is a fault? A fault is a manifest of an error in software. Faults are known as colloquially as defaults or bugs. Right? Now, what I'm trying to do in the first step, why my car was going to crash, because I have inserted, I have injected some error in already running function. Means if I drive my car at 100 miles per hour speed on a top gear, then it will work smooth. But what I try to do, I try to run my car on 100 miles per hour at a speed of, on the first gear. So I am injecting something, right? So after injecting, there will be some fault will come. So the first was error because it was giving some wrong, or engine was varying, or engine was knocking. And fault is something that after knocking the engine may be burst. So what will be the consequences that comes in your fault? So the first is error. Error means what misfunction or dysfunction will be happening there. Fault means what will be end of the result of because of that error, like engine may be burst, or your car may be burst, or gear may be broken, or car may be broken, anything. So the fault is that thing. Now coming to failure. Failure is nothing but it's a process. Like a fault if encountered may cause failure, which is deviation of the software from existing delivery or service. For example, the same example previously we have taken. If I am running my car at the speed of 100 miles per hour on a top gear only, right? So, what was the error? The car was dysfunctioning. What was the fault? The engine got broken. What is a failure? The process. Process means running the car on a top gear, on a first gear at 100 mile per hour. Then car dysfunction. Result was engine broken down, and the complete process is known as failure, and end of the process will give you some bad news. So that is failure. What is a defect? Defect means defect and failure somewhere used in a similar way. So defect is nothing, it's a departure of quality characteristics from its specified value that results in a product or a service not satisfying its normal usage requirement, right? For example, if I am writing from my pen and pen is not giving me correct result, or I am not able to write from the pen, expected behavior is that the pen should be right, or ink is leaking on paper, or if I'm using blue pen, then it is writing by black ink, right? So that is a defect. Means it is a departure of your expected behavior. Means what? For example, in the same thing which we have taken, like if I am running my car at 100 miles per hour, right? And I am putting top gear. So expected behavior is that there should not be any knocking. It should run smooth. There should not be any deviation. But what is happening on top gear? It is knocking. So that is known as your defect, right? So guys, any confusion till here?
No.
Okay. Few more has joined. Nalini, Sudeep.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
not now.
okay. Now coming to testing terminology, what kind of terminology we use, like in any of life? or any of the things, you can see we use some terminology. Like if you are a fresher, then some terminology related to engineering, like which trade you belong to, like from a computer science or electronics and communication or mechanical. So some terminology we use to identify or to work or to know the things accordingly, right? In the same way, in testing, we use some terminology which is commonly understood by each and every people who are working in testing. Which are those terminology like reliability. Okay. Now I am going on a previous slide. Who will explain what is the meaning of reliability? In your
Checking the functionality of an application,
Mhm.
checking the functionality of an application for a certain period of time
Mhm.
continuously is known as reliability testing, whether it is reliable or not. Checking the condition, whether the function is working correctly or not after a certain period of time.
Okay, let me reiterate the question. Just say in a very general term, right? In a very specific English meaning, you say like like.
Trustworthy.
Yes. So the same thing I was asking. So Gagan, you said correctly, and Nalini, you are also right. Reliability means trustworthy. Like we talk in general in our friendship that this friend is not reliable. So what is the meaning of that? What is reliability? Means this person is not trustworthy. You cannot trust on this person, right? In the same way, we say reliability in application is that your application is working as per expected behavior in a specified time. For example, if I suppose to open my Gmail, then there should be a lagging of only zero point 0.5 second. So your application is opening in 0.5 second or not. So that is a reliability. So reliability means your application is having a chance that it is not going to crash or it is not going to fail your system or it is not going to giving unexpected behavior. So that is reliability. How much reliable my friend is, can I share my thoughts or my personal feeling with my friend or not? How much he is reliable, that can I take money or can I give money to my friend and he or she will return to me, right? So that is a reliability. How much you can rely on your software. There are multiple application, like you guys are just pass out from the college, so very I consider that you are in very touch with applications which are running on a Google store. So you must aware that for the same application there are for the same function there are multiple applications, but which one you like, because which one on you trust, because of application is not going to crash or application is working as per expected behavior, right? That is your reliability. Now coming to the quality, what is the quality meaning? Quality meaning, suppose if I say I am giving you an apple, right? Okay, so let me reiterate the question. Suppose you have two choice to have an apple. One is of 60 rupees per kg and another one is of 150 rupees per kg. So which one you will like?
150 per kg.
I will look for the quality one, the best one.
Okay. And someone said
Yeah,
150.
depends upon quality and price too.
Okay. Okay. So, but usually what happens, we will go with the 150 rupees per kg apple because we consider that should be having a quality, right? So quality is nothing but it is framed your application with easy to use, right? Easy to use means it is how user friendly. So guys, remember this term. This is mostly asked in interview question. What is a user friendly application? User friendly means how much it is easy to use. If you guys have seen Gmail page or Yahoo mail page or Reddit mail page, so every mail page is a different form, right? Gmail is the simplest one, and it is set in IT industry to, or any industry. You have to work very hard to make things simple. So Gmail page is a very simple and very user friendly. Any of new person can go and use it. Yahoo Mail page is little complex and having a lot of other web links also there, right? So quality means how your application is user friendly, how your user is comfortable to use your application. It is the totality of characteristics of an entire that bear on its ability to satisfy or stated or implied needs. Means as per the user requirement how much it is user friendly, or if it is not user friendly, then there should be some help file. For example, if you're stuck somewhere, then you can go and check what can be done to resolve the errors, right? So quality is nothing but it is about the user friendliness of your application. Now what is a quality assurance and quality control? Okay, can anyone tell me what is assurance and what is a control? Difference in general English term, difference between assurance and control.
Quality assurance, we
No,
make
no, no.
sure that we are building the right product. In quality
Go ahead, please. Yeah,
mm,
go ahead, please.
quality control, we look for the sorry. In quality control, we look for the whether we are building the right product or not. In quality assurance, we make sure that the application we have built is working properly or not. It is a validation part, assurance, and quality control is the verification part. I think so.
Okay, okay. See, validation and verification, I'm not going on that because that is some advanced topic. But validation is a testing part, and verification is your development part. Now, coming to assurance and quality control, assurance means, in general English term, assurance means you are giving an assurance. Yes, this will be according to as expected. Control means you are putting some checkpoints on your product that yes, all the preconditions are going to fulfill while developing, right? So assurance means in testing you are saying that whichever things it is supposed to do it is having, right? Control means you are putting subject points. For example, if I say in any manufacturing unit, right, there is a ISO standard, there is a some or in your IT industry there is a some CMI level companies are there. So what is the meaning of CMI? CMI means they are having some checks that you must have to follow these checkpoints or these standards to make your software, right? So those checkpoints are put as your quality control. For example, if I say there is a manufacturing of a car, right? If I'm talking about Merck, so Merck must have a airbags. That's a one checkpoint. Another is there should be a sensor in the tire that if it got flattened or it got punctured, so it should give some alert to the driver. There should be sensor like if any window is open, then alert should be given. So these are taken care during the manufacturing of a car. So control is nothing but a checkpoints which are supposed to follow during the development of the product, right? If I'm talking about IT or talking about the testing perspective, so during the development we have put some checkpoints like developer must follow the coding standard, developer must follow the or putting a less number of codes in the application during the development. So these are the checkpoints which we take care. That is a quality control. Assurance is nothing but we take care. Yes, we have decided to put these quality in our product. Now, after development of product, we are assuring yes, everything is done correctly, right? So now again coming to verification, validation. Verification is something your quality control, quality assurance is something your validation, right? So once your product has been developed, you make sure that at initial what we have agreed, everything is according to that. So we are assuring that. Control is that during the development, we say that we will put these checks or these standard in our product. that we are checking in quality control, right? So any doubt in quality control or quality assurance? Gagan, Monica, Midul, Nalini, and Taki.
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay.
All good.
Okay. Monica, are you silenced? You so you can type if you are not able to speak. Okay. Now, why we do a testing? Why testing is important, right? So testing is important to find the defects, right? Increase the reliability, to measure the risk to the business, to ensure live failures don't impact cost and profitability, to ensure user requirements are met. So guys, just read it by yourself. Then I ask question according to. Okay, done. Okay, Gagan, why testing is important? Gagan. Okay, let me come again. Okay, Gagan, just read it. Why test? Why testing is important? Because I will ask question on this. Gagan has. Can you please repeat? I could hear you call my name. Yes, Gagan, I have asked that why testing is necessary. We have read on this slide why testing is necessary. So my question is, why we need to test. In general, I'm not asking
So there
related
are
with.
a few.
I'm not asking in related with the this presentation, this PPT. In general, you tell me why we need to test. Why we are supposed to test the application or any of product which we bring to our home. Why we test?
So basically, we need to test to ensure quality, reliability of the product,
Hmm.
and to find out any errors or bugs if
Mm-hmm.
possible, so that we can minimize the risk and uh, we can lower down the cost we can encounter in a later stage
Mm-hmm.
due to those errors.
Mm-hmm.
These are some things.
Yes, correct. So basically, why we test the first and always we need to go with the positive things. We first need we first need to test that the product or functionality is going to fulfill my requirement or not, right? So the first thing we check, for example, if I'm going to buy one pen for me from the shop, so what I will see that the pen is I'm able to write from the pen or not, right? So the first thing we check that it is working as per my expectation or not. Second, is there any risk involved? For example, if I am writing with my pen at 80 degrees Celsius of temperature. So is there any fault or is there any risk that pen is going to burst or going to blast? Right? Is there any legal document is required for that? That is a very advanced level I'm talking about. But we also check that is there any legal document? For example, it can be said that link pen can be used by only students, not by the professional. So if I'm using as a professional the link pen, then is it something illegal work I'm doing on doing something, right? So that we also need to take care, right? So we need to check the rest, the positivity. Then we need to check if it is going to failure. Then what will happen, right? It is to maintain the organization reputation, to check the software there to legal requirement or industry specific standard or not. So that is the reason we do a testing. Now, why any application gives you an error? Nalini, you tell me why any application? Why? Suppose so. Nalini, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. You cook food.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is the best thing you cook, Nalini?
Fried rice.
Okay. So every time you have prepared fried rice, so every time it's delicious.
Not every time. Sometimes less.
Okay. So, do you remember any time that when it was not delicious and you have made it?
Yeah, many times.
Okay. So,
When I made it in hurry or some,
okay.
I
So,
done some mistake.
okay. So what was the reason that your prepared dish was not good or not delicious?
Might be the reason I was not following the right steps or not using all the ingredients or the necessary ingredients or made it fastly. It depends on several factors.
Really, we are not able to hear.
But
Yes. So what was the reason behind that your prepared dish was not good?
there could be many reasons. Like I've said, might be I'm not using all the ingredients required for that. Maybe sometimes three or four, or sometimes all of the 10. Or I am making it fastly, or many more. Or I am doing wrong step in making them. That
Mhm.
could be the possible reason.
Okay. Now just read it. Why do error occurs? What is written there? People make mistakes, poor communication, assumptions, poor or ambiguous documentation, poor training and pressure. So Can you correlate these things with what you said?
Yeah, like I said, making some mistake,
Hmm.
not using the ingredients properly,
Hmm.
or not in the sequential manner.
Hmm.
Poor communication, I mean, this is related to maybe what is required and what is not used.
Hmm.
There might be some communication, lack of communication.
Hmm.
And assumption means you assumed early, like these are the things has to be done, but
Hmm.
on a practical basis, these assumptions they fail. And poor ambiguous documentation. This is some ambiguity in the documentation that gives you false information. And poor training and pressure.
Means,
That's something
you are preparing your dish in very hurry.
that could be one of the reasons.
Yes. Right. So now you can correlate whatever the things we do in our day-to-day life, why we get fail or why there is an error comes in your process or in your planned activity. So you know the reason. Like Nalini has explained, everyone we can correlate. My objective is to involve you guys because you can correlate the things, and when you learn with your practical approach or day-to-day occurrence, right? So what will happen that you will get to understand that okay, this is happening, and these are the things which are required in testing. Testing, guys, testing is nothing but it's a very practical approach whichever is done by us in our day-to-day life, right? So people make mistakes. We are a human being. We are not we in many cases we think that we are right, but some we are not in all in every cases. Poor communication. I pass something to my friend, he passes to his friend, he passes to his friend. End of the day, it is not necessary that the same has been conveyed to the last person what was said by the first person. Right? So that is a poor communication. You have raised the defect, you have mentioned everything in your defect, right? But the developer is saying I am not able to get what you are trying to say. Right? Or you have used some high technical words, that's a jargons in your documentation part, which could not be understood by other guys. Right? So that's a poor communication. Assumptions. We believe it is there. For example, I believe 2 plus 2 is 4. That's a very easy to understood. But this is assumption. But not necessary that it should be understood by a 4-year child, right? Or it is not, or it is very easy to understood by all educated people, but by any uneducated or illiterate people it is not easy to understand that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Some people will think no, 2 into 2 is equal to 4. So I am assuming something. In the same way in testing, people assume that it is a common thing, why should I take care of those things, right? So that produces an error. Poor or ambiguous document. In my documentation, I am not explaining the things in a very proper way. Suppose you have opened a Microsoft Word and there is a help file, and you are getting some error while applying the formula on your Excel sheet or in a Word file, and you have opened help file document. But in help file document, you search suppose mathematical formula, and it is giving some different result. It is giving geographical location or mathematical result. You have put how to use plus or how to add two numbers in the Excel sheet, but it is giving how to multiply two numbers, or it is not giving the expected result behavior. Right? So that is a poor or ambiguous documentation. Poor training and pressure. Poor training means today if I ask to Sachin Tendulkar to play right golf, right? So it may be possible that he might, I mean, may be possible that he will succeed because he is a game of God, right? He might be, it might be possible that he may not perform in the same way as he has performed in cricket, right? Although I make sure that I have given a proper training to the person. So, which is the meaning that poor training and pressure. Poor training means you cannot ask any person, and that is the reason freshers or any professional who comes for any of IT industry, so they are given a training, right? So you can perform as it is expected from you. Pressure means, suppose if I say you have 1 month to complete the task, and I know it will take only 15 days to finish. So you are free and you will give a good quality. But if I say you have only 3 days to finish the task, and I know the task is very tough and it will take minimum to minimum 15 days. So in the pressure, you will you will do some mistakes, right? So that is another reason that error occurs in your application, right? Now, cost of error and escalation model. In software testing life cycle, SDLC means software development life cycle. In software testing life cycle, suppose, okay, let me ask one very general question. Suppose any of you has used X-ray machine or seen X-ray machine.
Yeah, I have seen. I have also used it.
Yes.
Okay. For example, suppose there is some error in X-ray machine and that was not tested correctly. So what do you think? What could be the risk?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. My question is, suppose there is some error in X-ray machine, right? So what could be the consequences of that?
It will not work properly, and the output will not come. I will not able to Xerox it.
Okay, and what else? So tell me what could be the consequences? Hello, Taki.
Yes, yes, sir.
So what is the consequences? What will be the bad result if your X-ray machine has some fault?
I told you, sir, that I will not able to do anything. Like I will not able to do Xerox from that machine. It will not work properly. My physical gets
I'm not asking about Xerox machine. I'm asking about X-ray machine.
That will
X-ray
not
machine.
give the correct reports. That is the medical reports.
Okay,
So that
and
could be a big thing.
and also there could be possibility that it is producing the wrong rays and there is a risk of a life
It can
to the
harm.
patient,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
it will destroy our cells.
Correct, correct. So the cost of error is always very high if it is not taken correctly, like they have mentioned here. So the cost of failure in such a system may be human lives. The cost of correcting a defect can be modeled. The cost of correcting same defect at later or later stage of SDLC rises dramatically. What is the meaning of that? Like I'm taking another example. Just a moment. There is aeronautical space, right? Uh, the rocket which goes to your space. Suppose there is a they calculate each and everything with a fraction of second. Suppose there is some fault. So what will happen? It may crash, right? Or it may lose somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. It will
That's why,
crash.
yeah. So that's why they say that it is very critical to do a testing of your softwares, and everything runs on a software you know very well. And that is the reason software testing is very much important, and that the cost is involved. Now, cost estimation model. it is, if we found one defect and we fix it at initial stage, then it is very less expensive. But when it is found in production or later stages of your software development life cycle, then cost is very high. What is the meaning of that? Suppose there is a documentation done and customer says, I need to build this application, this is the requirement, now you need to build. So you got the document, you got the requirement, you have documented some ambiguous features you have found, you have consulted with your customer and you say this requirement is not clear, can you please elaborate more? So this is easy, one case. Another case is that everything has been developed, now the software is in production, customer is using that and found one defect which was not according to the requirement. Then it is this is the second case. So in both the cases, which one is easy to fix? Tell me.
The previous one.
The first one.
Why?
Because if we'll fix the bug in early stage of application building, then it will not harm.
Hmm.
It will not be that much harmful that like you said in the Xerox, like you said X-ray machine. Similarly, in this case also.
Hmm. Right. So any of the defect which is resolved at early stage is very easy to fix, because only there in the first case, like we have seen, it is very easy to fix the document. In second stage, second case, we have to ask the client, we need to improve the document, we need to involve developer, we need to involve tester, we need to involve maintenance guys to fix and retest the defect so that it is working as per my requirement or not, right? And when involve these people, what will happen? Definitely they will charge, and the defect cost will be high. Defect fixing cost will be high, right? Now, what is exhaustive testing? Exhaustive testing, I cannot test my application with each and every test case, right? What is the meaning of that? Means, okay, let me ask a very simple question from you guys. Suppose there are two printers, printer 1 and printer 2. You need to test these two printers. So how many test cases will be there?
Whatever the test cases we will prepare for the printer one will be applicable for printer two also.
Yes. So how many test cases you need to require in general? Two test case?
One for the printer one.
Okay. And second one is for printer 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. So two test cases. Now if I say you need to include more condition, you need to test on Windows application and you need to test on Linux application. So how many test cases will be there?
Two for the each. That means four.
4, correct? Now you need to test on
Yeah.
Chrome and you need to test on Firefox. So how many test cases will be there now?
Eight.
8.
Four for one. Four for one.
Right. Right. Now if I say I need to test this application on black and white and color. So how many test cases are there? 2 to the power 8,
Yeah.
right? It's not 6, Monica, it will be 2 to the power 8. The number of test cases are increasing. Now if I'm including some more conditions, suppose there is a condition 1 and condition 2. So how many test cases are required to test my application completely?
It will further get multiplied.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, Karan, you are right. Monica, see, I am telling you. For example, if I say printer 1, printer 2, then you need to test on Windows, then you need to test on Linux, you need to test on Chrome, Firefox, what else we have taken? Black and white, color, right? So, Monica, see, possible condition 1, then 2, 3, 4. Got it? Okay, perfect. So by that way we have seen these number of test cases. Now if I am adding one more condition here, right? So in the same way that it will increase, I am adding one more condition is there. So the number of test case will increase. What will happen in that case? I am not able to test each and every test condition. In that case, I will put or I will select those conditions which is having a multiple number of input fields, right? So that is why it is said that exhaustive testing is not possible with a program. We select with a maximum or all possible combination of input or values for the program variables to test the application. To test everything is rarely possible, right? The main constraint to decide on the level of testing, like if we have less time, we no, I'm not talking about the less time. I'm just talking in exhaustive testing. That is a different story, uh, Kanan, right? When we have a less time, then how we do a testing. The main constraint to decide on the level of testing to perform de-risk time and resources. Correct. That we will talk about. If we have a less time, then how we do our testing. We will cover that one as well. Now we have seen what kind of testing terminology is there, why we test, what is the cost of fixing a defect, right? We have seen that. Now everything we have seen as a precondition. Now we are coming to a testing process. What are the testing process involved? Testing process is nothing but test planning. You have seen that so many times it is asked questions that what is a test planning document, what is a test strategy document, what is the difference in both of them, right? So test planning is involving or producing a document that describe an overall approach and test objectives, noting any assumption you have made and stating any expectation to you overall test strategy for your project. Test planning can be applied at all levels. Completion or exit criteria must be specified so that you know when testing is complete. Often a coverage target is set and used as a test completion criteria. Let me make it very simple for you guys. What is the difference in strategy and planning? A simple English term says the difference in strategy and planning is that strategy that you make it. For example, if I consider any soccer game, right? So strategy is that we need to achieve or we need to put 3 goals to opponent, right? That is a strategy, right? Planning is how we are going to implement that. how we are going to how we are going to make a plan that we will put three goals to the opponent. So strategy is what is my objective. So it is again what is objective, right? Planning is how to implement, right? What I am not supposed to do, right, to achieve my strategy, which are key areas to focus upon, right? What kind of resources I need, right? Which kind of training require to the resources, right? So this is a difference in the strategy and planning. Strategy that you have some objective, right? You have made some objective, right? You know what you are going to achieve. That is your strategy. Planning is how to implement to achieve your objective, which are the key area you need to focus upon, which kind of training required to the resources, right? So this is a general difference between the strategy and the planning. Now if I'm coming to the test strategy and test planning, in test strategy, this is the document which is involved at very higher level or across the team, maybe development team, maybe your maintenance team, maybe at a higher level of management, to let them know what we are going to test, what is our objective to test the application, which kind of application is this, right? We cover a product risk. Product risk is related to the business. We cover each and everything in your test strategy document. In test planning, that is for your testing team document, right, which is covering your project risk. Project risk means related to the resources, related to the application, right? So that is covered in your test planning document. Now another thing is that test strategy is mainly, or in most of the cases, prepared by the test managers or any senior authority. Test planning document is majorly prepared by any test lead or senior resources in the team, right? So that is a difference between your test planning and test strategy document, right? Now coming to test specification. What is a test specification? It involves designing test conditions and test cases using recognized test techniques identified at the planning stage. Here it is usual to produce a separate documents that fully describe the test that you will carry out. It is important to determine the expected results prior to test execution, right? So specification is nothing but it is known as your test design documents. Means what is in your planning stage. Means like writing your test cases, test conditions, right? On means how you are going to test your application by writing the test condition, test cases, which as per the requirement document. Execution is nothing but running those test condition or test cases which you have written down. So test cases is what, or test script is what, the you can say step by step process how you are going to test your application. Now if you are executing them to test your application, that is known as your execution part. Means you are now validating your application as per your test cases. That is test execution. Sometimes it is manual, sometimes it is by automation, like from Selenium or SOAP-UI or QTP something, right? Now, once you have completed your testing, so what will happen? Checking for test completion involves looking at the previous specified test completion criteria to see if they have been met. If not, some tests may need to rerun. In some instances, it may be appropriate to design some new test cases or meet particular coverage target. Means what? Completion means you said that every test condition or test script, whichever you have written, that you have executed. So you have executed all the test case. There is no any major defect left in your application. Now your application is ready to move into production. So that is known as your test completion criteria. There is no any risk found in your application. There is no any um, unexpected behavior found in your application, right? If there is any defect which is of low severity found in your defect that is agreed by customer or business, they are ready to go with those defects. So that is known as your test completion criteria, right? Successful test defect faults as an objective to test should be a default detect faults. A successful test is one that does detect a fault. This is a counter-intuitive because fault delays progress. Success test is one that may cause delay. The successful test reveals fault which, if found later, may be or many more time costly to correct. If so, in long run, is a good thing. Means what? A little bit confusing, but let me explain in a very simple term. Defect means you always validate your application as per the test cases, because those test cases are written on the basis of your requirement documents. You make sure that there is no any defect found or any unexpected behavior encountered in your application. If there is, then you raise at a timely manner, right? Then what will happen that if the defect has been found, then it should be fixed with the prior to or with a timely manner. Because if defect found at a later stage of SDLC that we have seen, then it is very costly to fix. And if it is fixed at an early stage of SDLC, that's the software development life cycle, then it is very cheap to fix or very less expensive to fix, right? So successful test a defect fault means we always raise the defect or concern at timely manner, right? We always ask to the developer or concerned person to fix the defect so that we can test. We always raise a defect if there is any unexpected behavior has been found. So these are the successful tests of your defect faults or to detect faults, right? Now, what is the psychology of your testing? Testing is a destructive process? No. The one thing that is not possible to test is to show that software is correct and error free. No. Testing will, by its nature, find faults in the software. No. So what is correct in that case? Testing is not a destructive process. People say that testers are only here to find the defect. No. Testing, your testing proves that your software is error free. No. Any application cannot be 100% error free. So any software cannot be 100% perfect. It can be failed at some circumstance or some maybe some special conditions. Any application can fail, but yes, we cannot say that any application is a software free. Testing will be is testing is a nature to find the faults in the application or software. No. Objective of testing is not to find the defects. Objective of testing is to validate your application is as per the customer requirement or not. So guys, Monica, Nalini, Mridul and Ganana, are you able to understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to a good quality of a tester. What is a good tester? Has a quality: methodical and systematic, tactful and diplomatic, skeptical, especially about assumption and concrete evidence, able to notice and pursue odd details, good written and verbal communication skills, a knack for anticipating what others are likely to misunderstood, willing to get one's hand dirty, to experiment, to try something to see what happens, able to swiftly understand the nature of a business. Means you should be a 360-degree logical thinker. okay, if this happens, then what will happen? If this happens, then what will happen? If this occurs, then what will happen? Right? You should be then, which means you should be very open-minded. You must have good communication skill. You must have to experiment that things or explore your application, right? Communication means, suppose if I the same statement can be said in a different ways, in anger, in pleasant way, in a happy mood, right? So how you are communicating with your developer, because everyone in the organization has the same roles, same kind of responsibility, that give the product which is error free, or give the product which is as per the customer requirement, because your organization has the responsibility or taken a product or taken a, or giving a service to the client, because your client is expecting the best from your organization. So everyone involved in developing or testing or in maintaining the application is responsible. Each and every uh, is responsible. We are going to finish in 5 minutes. So each and every resource is having the same kind of responsibility, that end of the day the delivery should be perfect, right? So the tester has the same kind of responsibility, that product should be go in a right fashion, right? This is not required for you guys to manage your testing independence. No, this is not required. Now we will study about retesting and regression. What is a retesting? Retesting means, suppose there is a one defect found in your application, right? And you are going to test defect and related things. For example, 2 plus 2 is giving you 5 result. So you will test, yes, Monica, because this is a testing workshop, so we will talk about the testing only. So retesting is nothing but to ensure that whichever is defect is going to fix, right? That is working fine, and related things are working as according. Regression means you are checking your application to hold with minimum number of test cases, right? Sorry, I misunderstood what you have written. Just a moment. No, 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 Monica, it's not again and again testing. No, no, no. Retesting means, suppose there is a one defect found and you are going to test that defect. So that is a retesting. Retesting means you need to test only particular defect and related areas, right? So that is a retesting. Again and again we are not going to test. Yes, testing an application with multiple input data, that's correct, but it it comes into the picture only when the defect has been fixed by the developer, right? So that is known as your retesting. Regression means, suppose there is a new build came. For example, on Android we have seen multiple versions are coming, right? In automation, it's a data driven testing, not necessarily it's a data driven testing. In now coming to regressions, for example, there is a new build come, right? So what will happen? You need to test all the application again, right, with minimum number of test case, because suppose you have 1,000 number of test cases to test the application, but in regression you will run only 10% or 100 test cases to run to see the major functionalities are working fine or not. That is regression testing. Retesting means if there is any defect find out and you are checking only the defect has been fixed or not, right? So thorough testing of your application with minimum number of test cases is known as your regression. Testing related with only defect is known as your retesting. So that is the difference between retesting and regression. When they come into the picture, regression comes when a new build comes, right? Or new, there is a uh, new application or new version of product in your production, right? Or comes to testing, then we do a regression. When there is a defect fix, then we do around testing, that is retesting, or it is also known as your localized testing. So retesting also, so many people call it as a localized testing. So what are the areas that we concentrate while selecting our regression test cases. One is coverage based method, means your test cases must have covering all of functionalities, right? Because we are not going to run all the test cases, we are going to run just minimal number of test suite or minimal number of test set to validating your application. Safe method means we run the test case which are having, in majority of the cases, which are having positive flows, right? Retest all approach means this approach is currently prevalent at the moment, and it is where no test case selection at all is undertaken, right? So guys, till now, any doubt here? Hello, Nalini, Mithul, Monica, Sharma, any doubt here till
No,
now?
sir. No, sir. There's no doubt.
No.
Okay. So we are closing this session here. Next, we will cover about expected result. What you want me to explain? Then prioritization we will cover. Which topic? Okay, you want me to explain retesting and regression? Okay. See, retesting means suppose there is a one defect found in your application, right? And defect has been fixed by your developer, correct? So what will happen? You need to test that defect. Okay, this has been fixed by the developer, now it is working fine. So this is known as your retesting. Now which of the things you are going to retest while after fixing the defect? One, the defect has been fixed, working fine. Second, around the same functionality, if nothing is going to produce unexpected behavior again. For example, developer has done some changes in the code, then it is it is not impacting other functionality as well, or it is not impacting related functionality as well, that you are going to test, which is known as your retesting. Regression means when your application goes from one phase to another phase, right? So what is happening, that all the functionality or complete software is going from one phase to another phase, then you need to make sure that each and every functionality is working fine or not, right? That is known as your regression testing. Now in our complete testing cycle, what we have seen, that we run each and every test case, but in regression testing we usually don't run all the test cases every time, right? So what will happen in that case, we pick those test conditions which are very critical, that we have seen what kind of coverage we do in our regression testing. We pick those test conditions which are having a maximum coverage, maximum risk they are covering, most functionalities are covered. We run those test cases to make sure that everything is working fine. Now application or functionality can go to the next phase, right? So retesting is nothing but testing your related functionality only, or one function when the bug is going to fix. Regression is testing complete software or complete your package in one go, right? So clear now what is the difference in retesting and regression? Hello, uh, Sharma, are you clear? Okay, perfect. Okay, so just going to close this session here, guys. Just remember, from next weekend we will be having a class at 9 o'clock in the evening, right? So that you guys can join, and then we will go further about expected result, what is test oracles, then prioritization of a test case. Then we will cover furthermore chapters like testing through life cycle. We will cover it. next will be in the next weekend at 9 o'clock. Right, here we will see about verification validation. That's a V&V model we will study about. Right, what is economics of testing, high level of testing, test plans, then what are the components of a testing, integration of a testing we will see. Then we will study about system testing, functional, non-functional testing, acceptance, maintenance testing, right? That we will study. System integration testing. Then we need to cover dynamic test techniques, right? Black box, white box testing, functional, structural testing, right? Then we need to cover state transition, cause effect, error guessing, that we will cover. Then in fourth chapter we will study about review and test process, what type of reviews are there, right? Static reviews. Then in last presentation we will see about organizational structure, how people are working in testing, like test manager, test lead, right? Then pros and cons for each and every roles and responsibility. Then we will study about configuration management. Then we will study about test estimation, test control, incidents we will study, right? So these are the things we will study during our course. So guys, just ask your friends to join more and more, right? Because nowadays fresh, and in the last, after fifth of class we will study how you can go and crack testing interviews very easily as a fresher. That I will take 1 or 2 sessions to groom you professionally, or exactly show you how exactly testing is done in current IT industry. So ask your friends to join more and more, because if you are going to give interview with some technical skills, so company prefer you to take or uh, to onboard you in their organization if you are having some technical skills, right? So thank you so much for joining today's class, and we will continue again in next week at the same time, 9 o'clock in the evening. Any doubt here?